Hello everybody, this is Rob Bopperty and I got something a little different today. This is not a game I am playing. Well, I'm in Minecraft here, but I'm actually doing a kind of a review comparison of Xsplit, a screen recording software, game recording software. It is actually a paid one, and I got a hold of a trial, so I wanted to do a little review of it before my trial ran out, which is unfortunately really soon. If you're not interested in recording games, you probably aren't going to be interested in this video, and I apologize for making a video that you don't care about. First of all, in testing Xsplit, it's kind of hard not to compare it to OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. They're very similar in a lot of ways. I don't actually know which one came first and how they developed along the way, but the features are very similar, especially if you try to compare it to, like, say, Bandicam or something like that. It's hard to compare them because they don't even have, it doesn't even have the same sort of features that they have. A few things along in it. You have scenes that you can create little different scenes. Like if you want to have a scene like this, and then you want to switch to, say, of just your face, or you just want to switch to just the game, you can do that real quick on the fly while you're recording. And again, that's something do the very similar thing in Open Broadcaster Software. The reason my webcam picture is inside the XSplit window instead of what I'm recording with, which is OBS, is because I can't use it in both, so I wouldn't be able to turn it on and off. And it's kind of a good thing, bad thing in XSplit is that once you add the camera, it kind of locks it out from anything else. Even if I turn it off here, I wouldn't be able to turn it on OBS. But there are a lot of interesting things. There's lots of pros and cons to it. Let's see, one of the biggest pros of XSplit is that if you don't have any experience with either one of them, it is a little easier to get into. You can see right off the bat, you can resize things. You don't have to mess around with any sort of going into options and turning it on. Well, not options, but just a little easier to get into things. Same sort of things, so you can do the different options, change colors. They both have chroma key, which is blue screen, green screen, and stuff like that. One thing I do like is that it has, if you're doing recording, obviously it's not too helpful if you're broadcasting, but if you're doing recording, it has a pause on the local recording, not just on. With OBS, there is no pause. There's no way to pause it. To cut out areas, you'd have to actually do some post-processing after to edit it. It does pretty much have all the features of OBS on a usage level. It does seem like it doesn't seem to have all the same codecs and everything that OBS does. They both kind of have a little bit that each other have when it gets to the technical part, so that's kind of a preference thing, what you want it to do. But the pause button is a big thing. I'm sure it'll be added to OBS at some point, but since it's mainly made for streaming, it might not be anytime soon. Also, I like the I don't know if there's really a word for it, but I've been calling it permanent preview. Like I was saying, once you add the camera, it's kind of permanently on. When you're in OBS, it turns it on and off. There's no way to stop it from basically fading in and out the camera as you turn it on and off, which is just a little thing. It's not really a big deal. Also, there's like scene transitions between these different scenes. Like if you want to switch between scenes, things might be a little funny because I'm recording software while I'm playing a game. It might not work quite right. That's kind of an interesting little thing there. Lots of interesting little things that you may or may not need. That pretty much brings us to what I found for the pros. Easier to use. The pause is a big deal for me because I don't have a whole lot of time to make my recording, so I really like to be able to just pause in the middle, which I can't do with OBS. I have to actually switch scenes, or I have to stop recording, make a new recording, and then I have to put it back together at the end. Now, as for the cons, there's one very big con with XSplit, and that is that it's not free. OBS is completely free and open source. XSplit is not free, and it is kind of expensive. There is a free version, but it does not have all the features. I actually was not able to find a complete feature list as for what's in the free and what's not. And so unfortunately I don't have the full information on that, but there is some interesting stuff in there. I think the scenes transitions was one of them. Let's see. I think there are some ads when you're broadcasting though too. I don't think it does that for the recording, just the broadcast. It does use a little more resources than OBS. It is a little more resource intensive. It's not too noticeable if your system can if your system is running okay, but like I've noticed if I run a larger, more powerful game, it does tend to cause a little more issues. A couple other things I noticed. It is a little less stable. I very, very rarely have had an error or a lockup on OBS. Had it a little bit more on XSplit, but not anything too ridiculous. It does have, it's going to happen occasionally when you're running different software all the time. It's going to happen, but it seems a little more likely with XSplit. Probably has a lot to do with it using a little more resources too. One thing that with comparing XSplit and OBS is that with XSplit, it being a paid software, you're basically relying only on the support from the company, which seems like a good idea, except that OBS does have a very large community and it's open source, so the help's out there to find on there and lots of different help from different places. So kind of a preference thing. Would you rather deal with the company that you're paying money for and hope that they will be able to help you, which might be easier for a lot of people, or if you can be involved in an open source community and find the information out there, it's out there to find. Basically between the two of them, I really like a few little things about XSplit. Like I like the pause. I like that it keeps the camera and the different things open, the different objects open without having to switch between them, but that causes more resources there. Aside from that though, the cost is a huge deal. It does get kind of expensive. I would say if it were free, I would probably have both of them and switch between them depending on what I'm doing. But with it being expensive, I would have to choose OBS at this moment. But that's about it. I don't think there's a whole lot. Just basic stuff about the two of them that they both have. They have different sorts of sources you can use. You could set up a screen capture or a game capture where it actually tries to, like, I wonder what would happen if I probably shouldn't do that. Record OBS with XSplit while I'm recording XSplit with OBS. Webcams, audio devices, you can do different things. You can add in text or pictures. There seems to be a little bit more options in XSplit for this, but nothing that I've needed to see. They do both have plugins, so they do have some amount of scalability, some stuff that can be added. But that's basically it. Like I said, there's a free version, so if you're trying to decide if you want to try XSplit, definitely try the free version and see what sort of things you can do with it, what it won't do for you, what it will do for you, and look at the prices and see how that works out for you. But anyway, this has been Rob Boberty with XSplit, and thank you for watching. As always, like, subscribe, and shares are always appreciated, and I hope you have a great day.